So now, what we are going to discuss is, first we will start with what are the different types of DTPs. Okay, DTPs are categorized into 4 types. DTPs are of 4 types. The first one being called standard DTP. What the first one is called as standard DTP. So right now, what have we discussed? Yesterday we discussed about some DTP part. That is nothing but your standard DTP. So what have we discussed yesterday? So now, what standard DTP is doing now? It is extracting the data from data source / PSA to target, right? So now, maximum cases, what type of DTP you are going to use is yesterday what I have discussed is the standard DTP. So the first one is now called as what? This is the standard DTP. So whenever we trigger the standard DTP, what happens? It will physically extract the data from data source / PSA to target. That means your target will be filled up with data physically. Target gets loaded with data physically. Understand the logic now? So whenever you use the standard DTP, it physically extracts the data from data source / PSA to, so target will be filled up with what? Data. So now what is standard DTP say? Okay, standard DTPs will physically extract the data from data source / PSA to where? Target. So your target will be filled up with data physically. So maximum cases, as I said, what type of DTPs you are going to use is the standard DTP. And what does it say? Standard DTP has to be scheduled by the user. Standard DTP has to be scheduled by whom? User. So user has to schedule now trigger it every 1 hour or 1 day. Who has to give this condition? User has to give this condition. If I give the condition, then only it can be scheduled. So standard DTP has to be scheduled by the system itself. Will not automatically schedule it until and unless you give the condition. Scheduling option has to be given by whom? By the user. Understand now? So maximum cases what you are going to use is the standard DTP. Okay? Right. Now, next, second type of DTP is called direct access DTP. Second type of DTP is called as what? Direct access DTP. This is a special case. Direct access DTP, you are going to use it in a special case, special scenario. So where I use, it is used in a concept called virtual provider. So direct access DTPs are used in a concept called as what? Virtual provider. So that means your target should be a virtual provider. Your target should be a virtual provider. Then only you can use a direct access DTP. Now we discussed about a cube. In cube you have an option called virtual provider. What is virtual provider means? Virtual providers will not hold data physically. Virtual providers will not hold data what? It will not be holding the data physically. So if you want, you can observe this. Suppose, just imagine I'm logging into BI. So this virtual provider will not be holding data physically. Now, suppose this was your standard target, right? This is normal target, where what is the target is filled up with data. Now suppose on this target, I am developing some report. On this target, what you are doing? What you will do? Ultimately, after loading data into the target, what I will do? We will start generating a report on that. So when I execute a query on this target, what happens? This will be sending a request to target. Where is data now? In the target itself. Where does data goes for reporting now? From your target itself. This is normal standard DTP what we are discussing. When I use standard DTP, you have a standard target where your target is storing data physically. When you develop a report on this target, data will be coming for reporting from the target itself, right? Now, as I said, if you want, you can just observe. First time we are starting, right? It will be slow. Right. See now, suppose while creating something, while creating, what is the option you can see here? Create a. You got higher options in what is there? Virtual provider. So when I use this virtual provider, it's on DTP for. So that's what. So when you use a concept called virtual provider, then you will go across direct access. See now how is that? So this is what you have seen, the standard one, right? So now what I am doing, so now I am creating a target. This target is what now? This target is a virtual provider. So what is the target I am creating is now? It's a virtual provider. Now when you create a target which is virtual provider, then what type of DTP I am going to use is direct access DTP, right? So now when I create my data source which supports for direct access, you will not have any PSA. Only data source is there, same transformation is there. Now on this target, what I am doing? We are executing a query, right? On this target, what we will do? On a virtual provider also, I will be executing a report. So now what happens? Once I execute my report, it will be sending a request to where? Target. Is there any data in the target now? There is no physical storage of data in the. Now the target will be sending a request to what? Data source. Then data source will be sending a request to source system. So at the runtime, what happens? System itself will trigger the System itself will trigger what? Direct access. System itself will trigger the direct access DTP. Now, data from the source system, first it will come to the ARM source. Then where it comes to the virtual provider. From there, where it goes is to the query. Now, once I close my query, again, there is no physical storage of data in the virtual provider. So, what direct access DTPs are doing, they are directly accessing the data from the source system at the runtime. Direct access DTPs will directly access the data from the source system at the runtime, and these direct access DTPs are scheduled by what? They are scheduled by the system itself. Am I giving any condition? As soon as request comes to source system, it automatically triggering a direct access DTPs. Clear now? So, now what is that? See what is happening? Virtual providers have said, okay, what direct access DTPs will do? Direct access DTPs right? Direct access DTPs will not hold data right? Direct access DTPs will not hold data physically. That means there is virtual products, right? Direct access DTPs will just cancel that, okay? Direct access DTPs will directly access the data from the source system at the runtime. Direct access DTPs will directly access the. See, now I am not going to store any data in the. I am not going to store any data in the target. If you are storing the data, then error handling comes into picture. We are not going to store any data in the target here, in the BI. What is the data that is there in the source system that we are representing as a report? So that's what. So there is no error handling comes into picture there. And yes, direct access DTPs will be slower than the standard DTP. I will come to that next time. Right. See now, direct access DTPs will directly access the data from the source system at the runtime. And what does that say? Direct access DTPs are scheduled by the system itself. We are not scheduling any direct access DTP. It is scheduled automatically by the system itself. So direct access DTPs are scheduled by the system itself. Okay? Right. Next. Now, if you use virtual provider, what happens? Using virtual provider improves. What it improves? Which performance it is going to improve? Am I going to store any data physically in the BSS? With the data what I have in the source system, with that particular data we are representing as a report in the BS side. That means I am not storing any data physically in the BS system. So that means if you use virtual provider, what happens? It is going to improve your database performance. But what happens? But degrades what? If you use virtual provider, it degrades what? Query performance. If you are using virtual provider, it is going to degrade your. Now, if you look at your normal standard target, if you execute a report, where is report data is coming from? From the target itself. So target will receive a request, then it will send the data to the report. But here, what is happening when I execute a report? It is going to send a request to target, Then from there request go to data source, from there to source system. Then how much time it takes? It takes longer time. That's why generally you don't prefer virtual providers. One I can go with virtual provider is, now let us say imagine I want a report only once in a blue moon, once in 6 months or suppose you want to report every 1 hour or 1 day. If you go with this, what happens? Every day or every 1 hour it starts degrading the performance. But then the top level management can wait for the report that much time. So generally when I will go with this, just whenever you want to report once in a while. And that too, the report is restricted to a small amount of data. And that too what? The report is restricted to a, suppose, now I want a yearly report. Now entire year data if it has to fetch virtually, suppose 1 million records are there. How much time it takes? Lot of time. That's why, suppose if you have a report, let us say Jan 2011 or last week, when your report is restricted to a small amount of data, and that too when you want to report once in a while, then you can go with the concept of virtual providers. Understand now? So that's why what you will do? What I said now, using virtual providers degrades query performance. Right? So generally what is that now? We prefer direct access Dtps. Right? When we want a report, when we want a query once in a while, and that too, the report is what? Restricted to a small amount of data. Right, so if you use virtual provider, then you have to use a direct access DTP. Right? Yes. Any doubt with standard DTP and direct access DTP? First I will come with online people. It's a query. When you execute a query, so he's asking what is the schedule point for the direct access DTP? What is the triggering point? That is when you execute a query. What I am saying, request starts coming from query to target. Then target will be sending a request to data source. Then data source will be sending a request to source system. So once request comes to the source system, it will automatically trigger the direct access DTP. Clear? Generally, source itself is a BI system because I already have data in BI. Then why should I go with a direct access DTP? I will develop a report on that target in which I have data in the BI itself, right? No need to go with because already data is in BI itself. You are speaking with the same BI system or another BI system? So in the same BI system means already I have data now in the target. I will directly develop a report on the target itself. Why should I go with another target called virtual provider? Clear? Okay, fine. Next. We'll go to the next third type of DTP now. The third one is called error DTP. What is the third one is called? Error DTP. Yeah, Sudhi, please go on. Sudhi, tell me. No, when you're creating a data source, I will say support it for direct access. Okay. So now it depends upon the design of the query what you are doing. Runtime it is fetching the data I'm saying, right? Now cube may have, target may have some 10 or 15 info objects. But while developing a query, I'm designing only 3 objects. That means runtime what data it is fetching is only data related to the 3 objects. Okay? Right. Fine. So he's asking now what data it will fetch it into the report. That means what data it is accessing directly from the source system. Is it according to data source or target or the query? I am saying from the source, data is accessing at the runtime. Now what data it will access from the runtime at the source is asking. Is it data related to data source, structure related to data source, or is it what the objects that you have in the target, or is it what is your query? So the answer is according to your query. Okay? So next what is that now we are going to see is error Dtps. Now before understanding error Dtps, one more small thing we have to understand. I will show you that. See. Now suppose you have seen 3.5 data flow, right? Now what I said in 3.5 data flow, error handling is done at what? PSA. Now, what are the data that is coming from the source? We'll say data will be coming in the form of something called packages. We call it as a data package. How is data coming from the source to how extraction takes place is in the form of something called data packages. Before starting extraction, you have to specify package size. You have to specify. If you don't specify any package size, defaultly it will be taking package size as 1000. Default package sizes. If you want, you can change the package size. Now suppose, imagine my source has 10,000 records. My source has. Now when I start my info package, this is I'm speaking about 3.5. What happens? Data will be coming to target, right? Now what happens? It will start extraction, ETTL I said, right? So that process, first when I trigger info package, what I said? BI system will be sending a request to. So now it will send a request to source system. Now what happens? What is your package size? 1000, right? So what happens? First it will take all the 1000 records. It extracts 1000 records, transfers, transform and load. Then again, second package. Like that. This process will be repeated how many times now? 10 times. That means how the extraction takes place is according to your package size. Suppose if you say package size is 2000, how many times the process repeats is? 5 times. That depends because I said data is 10,000 records. Clear how extraction takes place? So in the form of data packages. Now let us say out of 10,000 records, imagine I have one error. Out of 10,000 records, I have a error in some, let us say 5,500 record is the error. Out of totally 10,000, 9,999 are valid records. Only one is the error record. What is that record number? 5,500. That means error is in which package? 6th package. Error is in data package. Now what happens? When I trigger info package, all the now 9 out of 10, 9 packages are valid. That means how many records will go into the target now? 9,000 records. But only that package will not be updated into target. Now in the PSA also I can see there will be 10 packages. 1, 2, 3, 4. All the 9 packages are fine. Error is in only. Now I'll catch the 6th data package and I'll edit the data and I'll update into target. That means what is happening here, even though one small error, how many records are stopped? 1000 records are stopped. All other 9,000 records are updated. 9 packages, but entire package is stopped here. So now what happens? Unnecessarily you are stopping now. So that is the problem in 3.5. As your error handling was done at PSA itself. That's why in 7.0 you have come up with a new concept called error stack. Your error handling will be done at what? Error stack. So when you trigger your standard DTP, what happens? All successful data will go into target, what are the error records is there, it will be pushed into error stack. So, what we are discussing now, error DTP, right? So now observe how error DTP is. So now, what we are going to discuss, this is error DTP, right? Now let us, as I said, I have some 10 records in my source system. Out of 10, let us say 1 is error. That means 9 records are valid. When I trigger info package, how many records comes to your PSA? Sorry, PSA, staging purpose. That is the use of PSA, right? Stage the data. Then, when I trigger my DTP, how many records will go to the target now here? 9 records. Okay? Right. And what about that one error record will be coming and updating into something called as error stack. The error record will be coming and updating into what? So when you trigger your standard DTP, all the successful valid data will be updated into the target, and any error records are there, where it will push now? Now what is the advantage now? Suppose same 10,000 example I have given. 10,000 records are here. When I trigger this standard DTP, what happens? All 9,999 are going into target. One record is pushed into error stack. Now what I'll do, we'll be rectifying the data in the error stack, and you'll be triggering what? You'll be triggering a error DTP. Now once I trigger this error DTP, what it will do? It will be extracting the data from error stack to target. It will be extracting the data from error stack to target. Understand the logic now? What is error DTP? Very simple. For a standard DTP, source is data source. For a error DTP, source is error stack. That is the only difference. Rest all is same. See now, what is error DTP? So, whenever we trigger standard DTP, or will be updated into the target, and any error records are there, will be updated into what? Into the error stack. Okay, and any error records are there will be updated into error stack. Okay, so what has to be done? You have to rectify the data in the error stack and trigger error DTP, which extracts the data from error stack to what? Error stack to target. Clear? Right? What is error DTP is clear? Right. Next we are moving on to the next type of DTP. Is called RDA DTP. RDA stands for real time data acquisition. This RDA full form is real time data acquisition. So RDA is also a new concept in BI. This concept is not there in 3.5. Now, as you said, extraction is not a one-time activity, extraction is a continuous activity, right? Now, every 1 hour or every 1 day you are extracting the data based upon what you are extracting? Based upon the kind of report you want. Suppose you want a report every 1 hour, then your extraction will be every 1 hour, because I want updations. When you develop a report, I want latest data. That latest data is updating into the source, not into BI. That's why what you will be doing? Every 1 hour you will be extracting. If you want to report every 1 day means, every 1 day I will extract. But let us say, now I want a frequent report. One special case we have seen, when we want a report once in a while. That is what I am going to use there is virtual product asset. Now, this is also a special scenario. RDA is also a special case. One I'll go with RDA concept is, suppose I want frequent report. Let us say I want a report every 3 minutes or every 5 minutes. That means you have to extract the data now every 3 minutes or 5 minutes. So is it possible with the standard DTP? No. So that time, what you will be doing? You will be going with the concept of. So when you want frequent report means you have to extract the data frequently. So now, what is that now? See, whenever we want frequent extraction, we will go with what? We will go with RDA concept. So whenever we want frequent extraction, we will go with RDA concept. Using RDA concept, we can extract the data as minimum as 1.5 minutes, that is 90 seconds, as minimum as 90 seconds to a maximum of 90 seconds to a maximum of 90 minutes. So using RDA, what I can do, we can extract the data now as minimum as 90 seconds to a maximum of 90 minutes. So now what we'll be doing in RDA concept is very simple. So when you use this RDA concept, we call our info package as real-time info package, and the DTP is called RDA DTP. Same thing. Now, what we'll do here, in this case, we are going to assign our real-time info package as well as this RDA DTP to a processor called daemon. You have a processor called as daemon. If you know Unix, anyone knows Unix? Anyone has idea on Unix? So there you'll come across this daemon. So daemon is like a never-ending process. So there will be some activities which has to be carried out over a period of time, which should not stop at all, which should not end at all. So those activities will be taken care by daemon processor. Those activities will be taken care by what? The daemon processor. So daemon is like a never-ending process. So what we are going to do using this RDA concept, we are going to assign this real-time info package as well as RDA DTP to a processor called daemon, and we will be scheduling this daemon. So now, what is that now? In the case of RDA concept, basically what you are trying to do using RDA concept is you are trying to reduce the time gap between your R3 and BI. There is always some time gap between R3 and BI. R3 is a live system. Data gets keep on updating immediately. But BI is not in a live system or some. So you are extracting data from, right? So in case of RDA concept, we will assign what? Real-time info package and okay, please reconnect TeamViewer again. Now, what I am saying now, in the case of RDA concept, we will assign real-time info package and RDA DTP to a processor called what? Demon. Okay? And what is that? So Demon can be, now we'll assign them to the processor called Demon, and what I'm going to do, we are going to schedule what? Demon. I'm not scheduling any info package or DTP, we are going to schedule Demon. So this Demon processor can be scheduled in two ways. Demon can be scheduled in two ways. Okay. So what are the two ways? One is time interval. One is time interval. So let us say I'll say 5 minutes. I'll give time interval for 10 minutes. Now what Demon will do, every 5 minutes it will trigger info package DTP. Every 5 minutes it will trigger info package DTP. Clear? What Demon will do is, every 5 minutes is going to trigger now info package as well as DTP. Clear? What is time interval option? And the second option is called change of data in the source. What is the second option is? Change of. So there is no particular time interval as such for the amount to be scheduled. As soon as some data updates into the source system, immediately that Demon will receive a request and it will automatically trigger the real-time info package and RDA DTP. Suppose first time your data is changing in 5 minutes. The first schedule is at 5 minutes. Next time imagine data is getting changed in 15 minutes. Next triggering will be at. So that means there is no particular time interval as such. As soon as the data gets updates into the live system, it will automatically trigger the RDA DTP, real-time info package and RDA DTP. Now this option, change of data in the source, you will not get with standard DTP. That you can get only with the Demon processor. Clear now what is RDA concept is? Now, if you use RDA concept, what happens? Using RDA, if you are using RDA, what happens? It degrades what? Now, every 5 minutes or every 2 minutes you are putting on the load on the live system. What about the processing of your business? Will it affect your processing of your source or not? So, using RDA concept, degrades the processing performance of the because every 5 minutes or every 2 minutes you are putting always continuous load on the live system, right? So definitely there is impact on the processing performance. That's why generally we don't prefer RDA concept until and unless you want frequent extraction. Clear now? And RDA is supported. RDA concept is supported only when the source is, suppose you are extracting from a file. Will it support RDA? File will not have any continuous updations, right? One file, okay, fine. Next time we'll get a separate file. It's not any continuous updation or something. So that means if it is a flat file extraction, it will not support for RDA. But suppose if it is R3, a live system, that what we call OLTP, online transaction processing. So RDA is supported only when the source is, that is a live system. It should be a live system, or we'll say a web-based application. Here RDA concept is supported only when your source is SAP R3 or a web-based application. Here, what are the types of DTPs? Yeah, first I'll come with these people. Any doubts online, people? Srinivas. Sudhi? Vinay? Clear? Right. Now face-to-face people. The types of DTPs concept is clear. So if you are using direct access DTP, there is no error handling. If you use either standard or RDA or error DTP, anyhow it's for doing the error handling only. The direct access DTP will not have any error handling at all. So it is taking only the value because from the source. That's it. Yes. So it's just like instead of designing it, I cannot directly design a query on the source system. So that's why we are creating one virtual provider and a data source, and I am using a direct access DTP. It's virtually accessing, right? You are not storing any data physical in the BS side. But standard DTP, RDA DTP, all these cases you store data physical in the BI side. But virtual provider is not like that. That means that if you are using direct access DTP, there is no concept called error handling there. Clear? Right? No doubts? Can I go further? So next what we are going to discuss is types of transformations. What is the types of transformations? Now what we have discussed, what exactly as the transformation is like? How your data has to be transformed from PSA to target. So in 3.5 you have a concept called transfer rules I said. So there how many transfer rules are there? 4, right? Info object there is direct assignment, constant, routine and formula. The same options here also. So out of 6, 4 transfer rules. 4 are same as transfer rules option. So that is, what is that now? One is direct assignment, or you can call it as an info object. Then next is constant. Then next is routine. Next formula. So these 4 you know, right? Direct assignment, constant, routine and formula. What we discussed is the same options. Then here next option is these 2 are extra. What are the 2 things that are extra is no transformation. What is that now? No transformation. Then last one is called read master data. Okay, these 2 options you don't know, right? One is read master data and the other one is no transformation. Now suppose let us do the same thing. Imagine this is your file. Now I have a, let us say this is my file. Customer number, name and so this is my file. Data from file where I am loading now to my target. So in between you have, what is that now? Data source slash PSA. How you want to extract your data to BI side. So now data from the file, first it will be coming to, then to target. So now from file to here. Okay, suppose what happens to PSA, you will be getting always raw data, right? So what is the data in the source? Same data will be coming to okay. Now we need to send data from PSA to where is target. That is what? To transformations. Suppose I want to convert this data from C1 to, same logic if you take. What I will do now, here I apply. What type of transformation is this now? Routine. I will write some ABAP code. Now suppose name I want same data should go. What is that you are going to use now? Direct assignment. Okay. This is direct assignment. Then let us say for address I want to apply a constant value. What is the constant value we are saying? India. So entire target will become and let us say, imagine I don't want to load phone number into my target. I don't want to load. If it is 3.5, what you will do? If it is a 3.5, what you are going to do? If it is 3.5, what you will do? I don't want to load phone number, what I will do then? You will be creating one info source or not? If it is 3.5, what is it? You have an option called info source, wherein in my info source, what I will say? Only 3 objects I will take. That's what I said, no? 3.5, first you have to create a structure called as info source specifying how data has to be loaded into your target. So now here what I specified, number, name and address. Okay. Now, but what is that now? Here I am saying in 3.5, info source is mandatory, but in 7 info source is not mandatory. So now, am I creating any info source here? We are not creating any info source there. Now what happens? Still I don't want to load, let us say, the phone number. So then what I will do for this phone number, we will be using no transformation. What is it we are using now? So the task of the info source is overtaken by no transformation. That's why we are saying info source is not mandatory. Now what happens? Phone number will be left blank. So what is no transformation here? Whenever whenever we don't want to update some particular data into target, right? Whenever we don't want to update some particular object in the target, so when you don't want to update some particular object in the target, we use what? We are going to use no transformation. Okay? So, clear now? So now, between this to this, what is that option I am going to use is? No transformation. So now, that particular data will not be updated into the target. Any doubts to this part? No transformation is clear. The next option is read master data, right? Read master data. Okay, now read master data. Now this type of transformation can be used. This type of transformation can be used only if what? Master data is already available. Only if master data is already. That means you should have already loaded master data, and master data should be already available into BI. Then I can use it this particular transformation. See, so this type of transformation can be used only if master data is already available. So now, what is that? See, observe. Now I have already loaded master data. Now already I have a master data that is available. Now let us say this is my target. Now imagine I have a second target. Let us say target 2. This is target 1. This is your target number 2. So imagine in this target 2, what is that I am taking is, what is that? Name. Which info object I am taking? Target 2 is also having an info object called name. Right? I can use this attribute in n number of tables. No? So second table also has an attribute called name. And let us say when it comes to your data source, imagine your data source consists of, what is it now? It has customer number. So your data source is consisting of what? Customer. Now what I am saying, for this target, I am saying for name, what we are saying, read master data from what? From customer number. Now when I trigger my info package, this is what is info package. So when I trigger info package, let us say data coming to my PSA is what? Imagine ZC1, and I am triggering a DTP. Data will be going from PSA to target. When I am triggering a DTP, now for name, what is there? Read master data from customer. What is customer master table now? This one. Now, what it will do? It will go and do a lookup. For ZC1, what is the master data now in this? For ZC1, for name, what is the master data now? AB. So it is catching the master data from master table. This AB will be uploaded into second target. That means it's just kind of a lookup. Go, look the data in particular table and fetch the data and load it here. So whenever you want to do a lookup, whenever you want to look up the data from one table, and upload it into another table, then you can use, right, read master data type of transformation. So what does that say? Whenever we want to read master data from one table and upload it into read master data type of what? Transformation. So it's basically a kind of a lookup what we are discussing. Okay. So but for that you should have already loaded what? Master data should be already available. Okay, what are the types of transformations? Yes, online people. Srinivas, Sudhi, Vinay. Okay, fine. Right. I don't want to load phone number into my target. So suppose there is no phone number in the source. But what happens, target is still thinking that data has to come from some source. You have to map it, right? Without mapping it will not allow. In that case what you will do, you will be using, right? You will be using no transformation. Yes. So I have 40 fields in the data source and my target needs only 6. Then do I have to give no transformation for all 34? Yes, exactly. What is telling, your data source has 40 fields and my target needs only 6 fields. So rest all 34 you have to use no transformation. Here no transformation is, types of transformations are clear. So 2 additional transformations, no transformation and read master data, which is not there in 3.5. These are the 2 new options in clear now, and that's why because of no transformation we are saying info source is not mandatory. But still we'll say in BI info source is mandatory in some cases. In BI we'll say, so which cases I'll discuss now. See, it's not mandatory means you have to use it. Again, it's not mandatory there also. So generally we use that info source in that particular scenario. So what is that scenario? See, info source is mandatory. We'll say in 2 scenarios. So now, what is the 2 scenarios is just see, when we want double transformations. When we want 2 times I need to apply some changes. When you want double transformations. Okay. So suppose, imagine my source has something like, let us say unit is there, let us say meters. I need to convert it into centimeters. That is one transformation. Then this centimeter I need to convert again into, like, let us say centimeter per second or something. So like that. When you want now multiple transformations, double transformations, then you can go with what? Info source. Now how double transformation looks, see? Excuse me. So now in between what happens? One info source is again like a structure. There is no data storing there. So now from PSA to info source, one change will apply. Then from info source to target, another change will apply. Okay? So that is, now when you trigger DTP, data is going to target only. It's not coming to, but data passes through what? Through the info source. It will not hold any data, but it will be processed through info source. Now, how many transformations now? 1, 2. That is one case. Or you can say like this. When we have multiple sources and a single target, or single source or what? Single source and multiple targets. Any of these cases, so generally you go for info source. Why? I'll show you now. See, suppose, imagine, how is that now? Suppose you have multiple targets, target 1 and let us say you have one more target also, target 3. This is now multiple targets getting data from single source. So now what is that? Now this is one transformation. From here to here is excuse me, another transformation. Here to here is. Now why this kind of requirement comes? Suppose your sources, suppose some 9 records are there. Now imagine I have a region like Asia, Europe and UK. While loading, what is my requirement? Here it has to go only US data, here it has to go only Europe data, here it has to go only Asia data. But source is one, but I am distributing the data into multiple targets. Now suppose for all the targets now I need to apply a change from customer C1 I want to convert it into ZC1. So what I will do, I will be writing a routine here. Again here also you have to write a routine. Here also you have to write a like that. How many targets you have, that many times you have to apply the routine. So that's why to avoid that, what I will do, you know, we will use one info source I am using. So instead of applying multiple times, I am using one info source. From TSA to target is 1. So here I will apply transformation. What is the data coming to the info source now? ZC1. Now for all these things I will just use a direct assignment. Once I will write a routine now in this particular transformation, data is transformed. Data is transformed. What happens now? Data is transformed in the info source itself. So then if you use direct assignment, all data goes. So you need not now apply that many times. You need not apply the logics that many times. Only once you apply, so that I can distribute the data to now. Clear now? So in those cases you can generally go with info source. Where? Then I will not use any info source. Here is some logic you want to write. Okay. That's what I am saying, right? So if you want to apply globally now, change it. Then I am going with creating a info source. Each and every target has different requirement. So then directly, what was my requirement here? I am saying I want to apply the logic. Same logic has to be applied for all the targets. Instead of writing separately, I am using a info source. But now if you don't want to, for specific to a target if you want, you cannot need any info source. Directly you can put it from PSA to target itself. Clear nowadays? When you are going to use the info source in 7.0, right? Yes. Any doubts to this part? Yes, one by one. Come on. Hello? See now, just observe. Now, I want, yes, 3 different countries or something, anything. Now, let us say all the targets, I want to prefix my customers with Z. All the targets I want to prefix my customer with. Now, if you don't use info source, what is that now? I have writing a transformation from source to target when transformation 1. There I have to write a routine saying apply prefix with Z. Again for the second target also write a transformation saying routine saying prefix with Z. For the third target also the same logic. But instead, now when you have created an info source, instead if you are creating one info source, now from data source first where we are putting the data now? To the text. So in this transformation I am writing a apply a routine. What is the data coming to the info source now? ZC1. So here and all direct assignment also if I use info source ZC1, what data goes to target? ZC1, this also goes ZC1, this also goes. So only how many times you are writing the routine now? Only once. That is from data source to multiple source and single target. Same thing again. Right now I shown you multiple target, single source. So now if it is multiple sources, how is that now? So from source system, how many data sources you may have? This is your second. So what you can do, you can directly from PSA to target you can connect, or between you can put one. So now here tier 1 transformation, here tier 1 transformation, and to the finally to the target. So this is one more transformation from info source to target. Clear? Just basically you are merging at the info source level and putting into the target. Is it clear? Srinivas, Vinay. Okay. So this is what is your data flow concept. So using these concepts, you will start your practical class. So what we will be starting is, right, how to extract the data from a file to the BI set. First we will be seeing from file, next we will be starting from R3. Okay? Right. So we will start here today. So tomorrow, from tomorrow continuous practical classes. Okay? Right. Yeah, please. Yeah, tell me. Okay. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. So that is single source or multiple targets. What you are speaking, no? Yeah. Which one you want here? This one, no? You are speaking about single source or multiple targets? What is your requirement? Okay. Okay, let us say reason is there. Reason suppose for 3 records you have US, another 3 records you have India. Okay. Next. Tell me. Okay. Oh, so then I'll be applying a transformations, no? So here I'll write a transformation routine. So let us say allow where only reason is equal to US. Here I'll write a transformation saying allow where only routine is reason is equal to India. That time you not require any info source because I'm not applying any directly you can put into that. You need not even write a routine. Also you'll get some options called filter. So in the DTPs and all you'll get an option called filter. I'll just filter reason is equal to US. In DTP1 I'll apply a filter user US and in from source to target 2 it's another DTP, right? In this DTP2 I'll say apply a filter reason is equal to India. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, fine. Yes. Some other clarifications? Clear, conceptually is clear? Okay? Right. So next, what I said now, we will be moving on to next second exercise tomorrow. Yeah. Jamon, huh? Yeah, please tell me. No, PSA is there. Yes, PSA is there. See? And request for the demand server. Data we are not putting into demand server. Demand is only a processor. Okay? Yeah, fine. Right then. So tomorrow morning 8 o'clock.